At this year's COP, all eyes will be on the new Collective Quantified Goal, or the NCQG. The NCQG is the successor to the previous goal set back in 2009, where developed countries pledged to mobilize $100 billion of climate finance every year by 2020 for developing countries. At COP21 in Paris, countries agreed to establish the NCQG by 2025. There's a lot of debate around this goal, but one thing everyone agrees on is that it must take into account the needs of developing countries. But what developing countries need is not so easy to calculate and not always captured by a dollar value, and there are different estimates depending on where you look. By adding up developing countries' own needs, the United Nations Framework Convention on Climate Change, or the UNFCCC, presented an estimate between $5.8 to $5.9 trillion. This is likely an underestimate, as the UNFCCC didn't receive complete cost information, like for adaptation or the losses and damages from climate change. Other sources outside of the UNFCCC have estimated developing countries' needs between $127 billion and $13.6 trillion per year by 2030. It remains to be seen how these estimates influence the new climate finance goal. Some don't include adaptation costs, some are tied to models of 2 degrees of warming, and others to well below or 1.5 degrees, as in the Paris Agreement. Beyond the total amount, too few consider who will actually need to raise the finance and under what terms and conditions. All this to say, estimating developing country needs is a challenge. We need a shared narrative to bridge the gap between developing countries' evolving needs and the NCQG target figure. This will rely on both technical and political inputs. We need to be aware of the assumptions and implications that underpin these estimates and how they are being used to suit political narratives. Lastly, we need to explore how to better use the rest of the NCQG process to make climate finance more effective and to scale up finance more broadly for the transitions we need to keep us on track for 1.5 degrees.